Uh, Hello students, in this class we will study the methodology of operation research. So how this operation research works, what are the steps using which one may decide based on the optimal solution obtained by using OR. The very first step is problem formulation. So there must be some optimization problem in hand which we have to solve and then implement the solution in real situation. This problem formulation is done by the whole operation research team, which is derived from various disciplines. Okay, the first step here is analysis of the physical system. What the physical system is, what are the various factors which are affecting the objective of the problem. So here the team sets up the objectives. They analyze the system and then they set up the objectives. What the objectives are, they identify the objectives, what we have to do, what we have to optimize. Okay, what we have to do, either we have to maximize the profit or we have to minimize the costs. Then determination of the constraints and alternative courses of action. So what are the different restrictions or constraints under which we have to obtain the profit or minimize the costs? Then what are the alternative courses of action? What are the alternative solutions available? So that comes under the formulation of problem. Next step is construction of a mathematical model. Once the problem is well formulated, the next step is to express all the relevant variables and the relationships among them into a mathematical form known as mathematical model. So a mathematical model is an equation or inequation or a set of equations. So this has to be done by the OR expert. Methodology, yes. So third step is solution of the model. So once the mathematical model is formulated, the next step is its a solution. By solution means to determine the values of variables that satisfy the mathematical model, that is the set of equations or inequations, and provide the optimal value to the objective function. Next step is validity of the model. So model should be validated for its accuracy. A model is valid if under similar input conditions it repeats the historical output. If it does not, that is, if under the similar input conditions the results are quite far from the historical results, then we can say that the model is not valid. There is some error in it. Either we are skipping some factors or the relationships are not properly addressed. So that is why we need to revise the model. until it gives the results consistent with the performance of the actual system. The next step is implementation of the model. Once the solution is obtained, model validity is okay, then this is the last step. Here both the UR expert and the implementing manager in the organization both cooperate, both discuss. OR expert explains the outcome of the model to the manager in very simple terms, in the language he understands. He will explain how the solution obtained can be implemented in real situation. He will actually explain the meaning of different symbols used in the model, and he will also explain the optimal value of the objective function. And besides that, the OR expert will also explain that this solution is achievable under this given set of constraints. So this is the last step of the methodology of operation research. Now we will understand it. This theoretical part we will understand with the help of a situation. An example, for example, I am taking the example of diet problem. So suppose we have to take the required amount of vitamins from two types of foods, F1 and F2, okay, which contain the different quantities of vitamin B1 and B2 as given in this table, and the cost per unit of different foods F1 and F2 is also provided here. It's also given. So this data is obtained. The OR expert may interact with the nutritionist, the dietitian, to obtain this data on vitamins, and he will also interact with the retailer who is selling these kinds of foods. Okay, he will obtain the data on the costs of these foods and the amount and the quantities of vitamins B1 and B2 contained in these two foods. So that is how the problem is formulated. Okay, the gathered data is represented in this table. So here we can see that the first step is interaction among various people, various experts, okay, with concerned persons from various departments. And after that, the problem is now with us. The problem is to determine the quantities of foods F1 and F2 to be purchased so that the minimum daily requirement of vitamins is met, and at the same time the cost of purchasing these foods is minimum. So with this data, this is the problem that we have to address. So the next step is formulation or construction of the model. So for making a mathematical model, we first need to define the variables involved. We call these decision variables because these help in the decision making. Okay, let Xj denotes the number of units of food Fj, that is j is equal to 1, 2. There are two types of foods, F1 and F2, to be purchased. So this is that we want to know what is the value of X1 and what's the value of X2. So these are the decision variables. What are these quantities? Okay, so that the minimum daily requirement of vitamins is met, and at the same time the cost of acquiring these two foods is minimum. So the above problem can be translated in mathematical form as minimize Z. Let Z denotes the cost. or objective function. This is the objective function. So minimize Z. Our objective is to minimize the total cost Z. That is, the cost of 1 unit of food 1 is 12. We can see from the table. And if I have to purchase x1 units, then the total cost would be 12 into x1. Similarly, the cost of purchasing x2 units, or 20 units of food 2, that is 20 x2. So the total cost will be sum of these two, that is 12 x1 plus 20 x2. Then the subject to the constraint. Now what are the restrictions? The restrictions were that minimum 100 units of vitamin B1 one should take, and minimum 120 units of vitamin B2 one should take. So these are the minimum daily requirements. Okay. Then how do we get? We get these two kind of vitamins from two different foods. So food F1 contains 6 units of vitamin B1 and food F2 contains 8 units of vitamin B1. So 6 into x1 gives us the total. If x1 units of food F1 are purchased, then 6 into x1 vitamin will be taken. And if x2 units of food x2 is taken, then the total of 8 into x2 units of vitamin B1 will be taken. So this total intake should be at least greater than equal to 100. At least 100 or greater than 100. Similarly, from the second row of the previous table, we can see that 7 into x1 and 12 into x2, is the intake of vitamin B2 from food F1 and F2, and minimum 120 units one should take. And x1 greater than equal to 0, x2 greater than equal to 0. Why x1 greater than equal to 0? Why x2 greater than equal to 0? Because these are the quantities and these cannot be negative. Either we will not take any unit of B1, vitamin B1, or we take positive number of units of vitamin B1. Similarly for vitamin B2. So that's why x1 greater than equal to 0 and x2 greater than equal to 0. These are known as non-negativity restrictions. So this is the second step. A mathematical model is formulated. The next step now comes the solution of the model. Now what are the values of this x1 and x2? That is the amount of food F1 and amount of food F2 that we have to purchase. So this can be done. This can be obtained by the solution of these two inequations. So after solving this set of inequations, we can get the values of x1 and x2, which gives us minimum value to the objective function, is cost. So this is the solution. So after this solution is obtained, the next step is just to explain to the people who are interested in purchasing these vitamins, that this is the optimal solution, these are the optimal quantities, so purchase this. So this is how OA works. So thank you. I hope the methodology of operation research is clear to you. For more clarity, the next sessions will help you more. Thank you.